The materials you'll need to get for this activity are the molds and a colored plastic sheet. These are available in your module materials cabinet. Once you've gotten your materials out of the cabinet, you'll need to set up the vacuum former. You'll need to take your plastic sheet and you'll need to place that in the machine. First thing you'll need to do is open up this frame. It's two separate parts, and you're going to take your plastic sheet and place it on the left side of this frame. Once you have done that, then you'll take this right part and you'll set it on top of your plastic sheet, and you'll need to clamp two clamps on the outside all the way down. Now your plastic sheet is in the frame, so it can be flipped over from the heat side to the vacuum side. So we're going to place your plastic sheet over on the right side, and the next thing you'll need to do is you'll need to take your molds and you'll need to place those on the vacuum side of the machine. Now the vacuum side has some holes located on it for the air to pass through. You want your molds to be at least 2 holes away from the edge. So there's a little bit of space here from this corner so that the plastic sheet will wrap around the shape correctly. Once you have your molds in place, and they should be facing face up, then you'll need to turn on the heat here on this switch. You'll flip that up and the red light will come on. This plastic sheet will heat up. When we watch it, it's going to go from flat to wavy to flat again. And once it goes back to being flat, we're going to take a pen or pencil and we'll check around the corners, around the edges, to make sure that those are soft, because we're heating up the plastic sheet to make it soft so it'll wrap around our molds. So the middle heats up quicker than the edges, so we'll have to check the edges and make sure those are soft so that when we flip our plastic sheet over onto our mold, it will wrap around the mold correctly. This usually takes about 2 minutes for it to heat up properly, maybe a little longer, because some of these sheets are different thickness, so the thicker the plastic, the longer it will take for it to heat up. Now it's starting to wrinkle, and it will stay wrinkled just for a few seconds. So once that plastic looks like it's flat, we can start to check it, and it should be really pretty soft around the edges. If it's not, then you need to wait longer. The key to making this work is to make sure the plastic is nice and soft. If it's not soft enough, it won't work correctly. So now the plastic sheet is flat again, but remember the inside heats up quicker than the outside edges. And since my mold is on the outside corner, I want to make sure this is nice and hot down here. So it's a little softer. So I can push on it. It's not rigid. So we want to make sure it's nice and soft. So better to leave it on a little longer than not long enough. So now it's getting pretty soft around these edges. Now it's best to do this next step with a partner. One person can hold this clamp here and they'll flip the plastic sheet over onto the vacuum. A second person is going to need to hold down the switch, press and hold down the switch to keep the vacuum on, so it'll suck the plastic sheet down on top of the mold. And since I'm doing this by myself, I'll do both. So this has to happen very quickly, or else the plastic sheet will cool and it won't take the shape of the mold. So once I turn on the vacuum, then I'll flip the sheet. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay, one thing I'm going to point out is our mold took here, but if you notice right here, I let the plastic sheet heat up too much, so it started to sag, started to go down and touch the metal part, the metal grate here on the heating side. So we don't want to let it sit for too long, or else it's going to get so soft it's going to touch this and it'll melt into the machine, which is not good because it would be a mess to clean up. So we want it hot enough so it will be soft and wrap around our shape, but not so hot where it will start to sag and touch the machine itself. So we want it to stay above the heating element, not touch any of these parts. So once we're done, we can unlatch this, and just be careful, it's a little warm. And if you use letters, when you take this apart, the letters may stick into the backside of the plastic, so you just have to pick those out. And otherwise, once you're done, you can simply cut around the outside and cut this part where the frame held the plastic sheet in, and you can color in your design. There's paint markers that you can use, and otherwise, once you're done, you can take this